Have you ever wondered why the Crusades, a series of religious wars, started in the first place? And the late 11th century was a time of intense religious fervor as Christianity and Islam vied for dominance. Europe, fragmented into a patchwork of feudal states, was rife with internal conflict and power struggles. But a shared faith united these disparate lands, providing a common cause around which to rally. At the center of this religious fervor was Pope Urban II. Seeing an opportunity to unite Europe under the banner of the Church, he issued a call to arms. His impassioned plea at the Council of Clermont in 1095 urged Christians to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslim control. This call resonated with the people, igniting a spark that would fuel almost 2 centuries of religious warfare. Thus, in the year 1095, the stage was set for the beginning of the Crusades. As the First Crusade began, the masses were driven by a newfound religious fervor. Unprecedented in its scale, this holy war saw thousands of Europeans journeying across continents, united by the promise of spiritual redemption and the allure of worldly riches. The First Crusade was a complex tapestry of political maneuvering, religious conviction, and brutal warfare, all intertwined in a quest to reclaim the Holy Land from Islamic rule. The Crusaders' journey was fraught with peril. They faced grueling marches, harsh weather, and the constant threat of enemy attacks. But their zeal was undeterred. Overcoming these hardships, they pressed on, their eyes set on the jewel of the Holy Land, Jerusalem. In July of 1099, after a brutal siege, the Crusaders finally breached the walls of Jerusalem. The city fell, and with it, a significant part of the Islamic world. The capture of Jerusalem was a momentous event, symbolizing not just a military victory, but the triumph of the Christian faith. In the aftermath of their victory, the Crusaders established 4 states: the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, the Principality of Antioch, and the County of Edessa. These Crusader states were a testament to the Crusaders' achievements and a stark embodiment of the East-West conflict. With the capture of Jerusalem in 1099, the First Crusade had achieved its goal. But the story of the Crusades was far from over. The struggle for control of the Holy Land was just beginning, setting the stage for centuries of religious conflict. The success of the First Crusade inspired subsequent campaigns, but would they be as successful? This question hung heavily in the minds of the Crusaders as they embarked on the Second Crusade. The Second Crusade was largely driven by the fall of the County of Edessa, a Crusader state, to the Seljuk Turks in 1144. The shock of this loss spurred the papacy to call for another crusade. 2 of Europe's greatest monarchs, King Louis V of France and Emperor Conrad I of Germany, answered the call. Yet, despite their combined might, the Second Crusade ended in failure. The Crusaders were unable to reclaim Edessa, and to add insult to injury, their attempts to conquer the city of Damascus ended in a disastrous defeat. This failure sowed seeds of discord among the Christian states in the East and weakened their collective military strength. It was in this environment of instability that an exceptional leader rose to prominence in the Muslim world. His name was Saladin, a man of extraordinary military and political acumen. Saladin capitalized on the Crusaders' disarray, capturing Jerusalem in 1187. This monumental loss prompted the call for the Third Crusade. And so, some of the most iconic figures of the Middle Ages took center stage. Richard the Lionheart, the King of England, known for his courage and military prowess, led the charge. His adversary, Saladin, was equally respected for his chivalry and strategic brilliance. Their rivalry has become the stuff of legends. The Third Crusade saw some successes, with Richard reclaiming key coastal cities. However, the ultimate prize, Jerusalem, remained in Muslim hands. The Crusaders, despite their best efforts, were unable to regain the lost territories. This was a bitter pill to swallow for the Crusaders. The First Crusade's victory seemed a distant memory, overshadowed by the failures of the subsequent campaigns. The struggle was far from over, but the momentum had clearly shifted. Despite their best efforts, the Crusaders were unable to regain the lost territories during the Third Crusade. As the Crusades continued, their purpose and impact began to shift. The Fourth Crusade, rather than focusing on the Holy Land, brought a shocking twist. Instead of marching towards Jerusalem, the Crusaders turned their swords against a fellow Christian city, Constantinople. This event, known as the Sack of Constantinople, marked a significant deviation from the original spiritual objectives of the Crusades, veering into political ambitions and territorial disputes. The Fifth and Sixth Crusades were attempts to regain lost ground, but they didn't achieve the desired success. Despite multiple attempts, the Holy Land remained elusive, and the spirit of the Crusades began to wane. The once fervent passion that had fueled knights and peasants alike to take up the cross seemed to dissipate. The Seventh Crusade, led by King Louis IX of France, ended in failure and his capture. The Eighth and Ninth Crusades, though not without their moments of triumph, could not turn the tide. The last Crusader stronghold, the city of Acre, fell in 1291. This marked the final nail in the coffin of the Crusader states in the Middle East. The Crusades, initially ignited by religious fervor and the promise of spiritual rewards, had over time devolved into territorial skirmishes and political machinations. By the end of the 13th century, the era of the Crusades had come to an end. The Crusades left an indelible mark on history, but what legacy did they leave behind? They were more than just wars. They were events that shaped the world in ways that still echo today. Culturally, the Crusades sparked an exchange of ideas, technologies, and traditions between the East and the West, influencing art, literature, and philosophy. Religiously, they intensified the divide between Christianity and Islam, a chasm that continues to reverberate in modern society. The Crusades sowed seeds of mistrust and hostility, setting a precedent for religious conflict that persists even in the 21st century. Politically, they altered the balance of power. They led to the rise of strong central powers in Europe, setting the stage for the modern nation-state. They also left a lasting impact on relationships between the Western and Eastern worlds. Thus, the Crusades were not just a series of wars, they were a pivotal moment in history that shaped the world we know today.